Joined by Jamey Horan, and I'm going to get him to tell you what his title is working for the National Hockey League.
Yes, thanks. Senior Vice President, Event Communications and Player Relations, if that's not long enough.
How long did it take you to memorize that?
All day, actually.
So full disclosure to the people listening, we're actually recording this well before hockey season. It's the summer, but Jamey is in Cape Breton. Tell us where you're from and tell us what your ties to Cape Breton.
So I grew up in Vermont, St. Albans, just about an hour south of Montreal. My mom is from Cape Breton, from Sydney. So I have been coming up here since I was a young kid and have a lot of relatives here still, and I absolutely love it.
You obviously gave the elaborate job title. What does your job entail on a daily basis?
I really work in association with the Players Association and work with the players on a lot of their off-ice initiatives and activities. So their media, the promotion of the game, largely through the signature events, the outdoor games, the Stanley Cup playoffs, All-Star Game, all the big events the league puts on. And we also run a series of programs that help the players off-ice to become more professional and better developed as individuals.
Yeah, something I wanted to touch on there, we talked about it earlier, linking players with broadcasting potentially. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so we have a new program we just launched this year called the Core Development Program. It's really career transition. It's really getting players to think about some other interests other than hockey, which is healthy. Studies have found it helps their performance if they have other interests. And also when they transition out of the game, they need something else to do. One item we found is broadcast, and we're working with also the NHL Network and also Syracuse University on kind of a broadcaster U to get players engaged and maybe spend some time in the off-season to see if they have what it takes to be a broadcaster.
Now, we know the head offices of the NHL are in New York. Gary Bettman is based there. Is that where you're based out of? And how much communication would you have with the commissioner on a day-to-day basis?
Our headquarters are in Manhattan in New York. We have a pretty large office in Toronto as well and a smaller office in Montreal. Commissioner works there. I see Commissioner quite a bit. I report to the Deputy Commissioner, Bill Daly. Bill and I talk multiple times a day, and he talks to Gary every day. We have a good relationship amongst the three of us, but my primary contact is with Bill.
In terms of the players, you said you work with the Players Association. We discussed before, you knowing a number of players who've played in the NHL. How well would Jamey know the average player that's in the NHL?
I don't know all 750.
That would be tough.
I work with quite a few. The one thing that happens when you work at the NHL, if you know a player, he knows 3 or 4. So you become friendly with multiple players by virtue of the fact that it's kind of a big family. The NHL is a family, as you know. Hockey is a family, as you know. But I know probably 10 to 20 guys really well that I've worked with over the years. And through our rookie orientation, where we bring our top rookies in every year for some training, you get to meet new players every year. So it's always a continuous kind of relationship building process.
You talked, too, as well about the NHL internationally. Obviously, getting a footprint abroad is a big thing. What are some of the projects you'd be involved in with that?
Yeah, so we have 2 initiatives. Well, we have 3. So we have the World Cup of Hockey, which we just had a successful relaunch this past year in Toronto. We hope to do that every 4 years. So that's a big, important initiative between the PA and the league. We also have a global series, which is basically what we used to call the Premier Games, and those are regular season games that'll happen sometime throughout the year in countries in Europe. And then we also just launched something called China 2017, which are going to be games basically 6 of the next 8 years in China in the preseason. With the Olympics coming up in 2022, that country's made a significant commitment to growing the game of hockey. We're going to follow suit.